the longest time, I wanted to start a social media marketing agency, also known as an SMMA business, where you get paid by businesses to provide to them in-demand marketing services. You basically get paid to either save them time or make them more money. It's a pretty genius model. So in 2019, after knowing and hearing about this business model for over 1 year, I decided to give it a go. But I had big goals. I didn't want to just make an extra couple hundred per month. I wanted to build a 6-figure social media marketing business as quick as possible. There's a famous law called Parkinson's Law. It basically means that whatever task you have to do, let's say it's writing an essay for college or for school, you will get that essay done in whatever amount of time you give yourself. So if you give yourself 2 weeks, it'll take 2 weeks. If you give yourself 1 week, it'll take 1 week. I've noticed that this is the same for my life. If I pick a goal and pick a very short time frame for that goal, I'll actually achieve that goal in the short time frame. Even though for other people, that same goal might take them weeks, if not months to achieve. So I wanted to give myself a challenge. Our start date is November 16th. That's when I signed my first social media marketing client. So I wanted to see, over the next 60 days, how many clients could I sign? Could I build a 6-figure business in less than 2 months? That's what we're about to uncover. There were so many questions that I needed answers to. How quickly could I sign my first client? How long would it take to get client number 2? Would I keep my clients happy so that they would pay me not only for 1 month, but for 2 or for 3? My goal was to answer these questions and to build a business, a real business, that would give me time, location, and financial freedom as quick as possible. Now you might be wondering, why did I choose SMMA? There are 2 main reasons why I personally thought this was the best business to start. And I still stand by that opinion. I think this is the best business for any beginner who doesn't have a lot of money and hasn't had tons of experience or success in other realms of business. Firstly, you have incredibly high profit margins with an SMMA business, typically between 60 to 90%. And in the beginning stages, when you do a lot of the work yourself and you're just starting up, those margins tend to be around 80 to 90%. And the second reason I chose SMMA was because there was no startup cost. You can genuinely start this even if you have 0 in your bank account right now. So with those 2 incredibly powerful reasons, I was ready to go. But before I could start this challenge, I had to be very, very clear about what service I was going to offer to business owners. Because your service has to make sense. It has to be in demand. It has to be something the market actually wants and needs. So I chose content creation and social media management. This basically means that I would get paid by business owners to create content such as graphics and videos for their social media. And then I would also get paid to go ahead and publish those pieces of content, to push them out there on social media and to manage their page. The end goal was simple. 1, I would save them a lot of time. And 2, I would help them make more money because better content would convert more of their followers into fans and into customers. And if I was to manage their page in the right way, using the right strategies, I would get them more followers and again, more sales. So my first client on our start date of November 16th was for $1,200 per month. And again, we were providing content and social media management to them. They were in the health industry. Specifically, they sold supplements. They also sold training programs and a couple different things. I didn't know it at the time, but this really would change everything. Because when you sign your first client, you realize that this is all very possible and that you can actually make this work and make a lot of money. You see, setting up a social media marketing agency is actually incredibly simple, but most people go about this in the complete wrong way. They waste countless hours on activities that don't make any money and don't bring them new clients. They create a website, they get business cards, they spend weeks designing the perfect social media packages. Quite frankly, this is just a form of mental masturbation. AKA, you're doing things that make you feel productive and busy, but you're not actually making any progress. You're not actually making any money, and you're certainly not signing any clients. So over my 60-day period for this challenge, I wouldn't do any of those things. I would not be building a website, I would not be buying any business cards, and I most certainly would not spend hours creating packages or coming up with the best business name. Instead, this is what I would do. I would reach out to 50 plus business owners every day. I would focus on contacting businesses within a very similar industry to my first client, either in the supplement industry or in the health industry. I would ensure that I over-delivered to my first client, got them amazing results and really wowed them. My main focus each day would be to connect with as many business owners, have as many conversations, and to book as many meetings as possible. I would spend no more than 1 hour coming up with a logo and a business name, and I would buy a website domain so that I could have a professional looking email. So instead of a business owner getting an email from adamwalsh@gmail.com, they would get an email from adam@xyzagency.com. Now that step is optional and it will cost you some money, about $10 to $20 to buy the domain, the actual website, another $10 to $15 a month to host the email. One incredibly common strategy for new SMMA owners is to work with local businesses. Because right now, if you live in a city or a town, there's probably tons of businesses that you could reach out to. Some of which you might even have a connection with. You might know someone who works there or you know the boss. I did not do this for many reasons. I'll be completely honest. I did not want to meet my clients in person. I wanted to be able to travel and have location freedom. And I didn't want any expectation from them that I would drop into their office or that they could just come over to my house or my office at any time. That to me just sounded like a job, and this was not what I wanted. I wanted a business that gave me freedom, not a job. I'll be honest, it worked really fucking well. We signed our second client within the same month. So that's 2 clients in literally 2 weeks. And our first client was super happy. Here's where it gets really interesting. You see, our first client had 3 business partners. And one of those business partners saw our work literally in the first week, was incredibly impressed, and told us, hey, I've got another business. So we hopped on a call with herself and one of her team members on the second business, basically just explained what we were doing for business number 1 and charged them the exact same fee, $1,200 a month to create content and manage their social media. Literally within a couple of weeks, we are up to now $2,400 per month in recurring revenue. This was a pretty easy win, a pretty easy client to sign on board. We didn't have to sell very hard at all. They knew what we did, saw the work, and were happy to sign up literally straight away. But it showed me that I was on the right path. So now to get into the nitty-gritty details. How did I actually reach out to these business owners? And what were the results after the first 45 to 60 days? I'll get to that in a minute. We used Instagram, LinkedIn, and email to reach out to prospects. We primarily focused on Instagram because at the time I had a fitness/health page where I would post fitness and health content, and I did a tiny bit of online coaching here and there. So because our first client was in the supplement and health industry, I knew that if I was reaching out to them from this page with health and fitness content already on it, it would probably get me better responses and they'd see that I'm in the industry. So I mainly used that Instagram account and I did a lot of voice messaging. A really powerful and easy way for me to get my confidence up would be to do voice messaging, right? Instead of typing text messages, why don't I just hit them up with a voice note? Those were the strategies that I used to get more meetings, more responses, and more clients. For you, maybe that's different, but you just have to lean into your strengths. So what did my day look like? What was I doing each day to move the needle forward? That's pretty simple, to be honest. I would work out, eat, talk to my girlfriend at the time, and work. That was it. This involved heavily focusing on reaching out to new business owners and having conversations with them about their social media. Some days I would have calls booked in, depending on how good my messaging was going and how many people booked those calls. And finally, I would spend a lot of time on the client work, right? Making sure our clients were super happy so that they would stay on for month 2 and month 3. We also had 1 or 2 graphic designers on board from day 1. And I wanted to make sure that they were improving and getting better at what they were. I wanted to make sure that they were improving and creating better content week after week, because if they had better work output, our clients would be happier. So before I reveal to you the numbers and the results that we achieved in the first 60 days, let me tell you why I think this worked so well. I didn't focus on being busy. I only focused on work that I knew was going to make money. So before I would sit down at my desk or my laptop, I would ask myself, is this task, is this activity going to bring money in or keep clients happy? And if it didn't do one of those 2 things, I didn't do it. I focused primarily on revenue generating activities. So building a website, although it could have potentially made some money, right? Because a prospect saw a website, thought we were more trustworthy, and then signed up, I knew that it wouldn't really push the needle. That I could build that same level of trust without a website. If they asked, I could simply say we're updating the website and it's currently out of use. So as you can see from this screenshot right here, our results were pretty good. We were making well over 10K a month in recurring revenue in the first 2 months. I have tried so many other business models and I've never seen results as quick as this or results that would actually last long. I was able to take that same business to over 50K a month. If you're thinking about starting a social media marketing agency, here's exactly why I think this is quite literally the best business for beginners. 1. High profit margins, 60 to 90%. 2. Virtually no startup costs, so it doesn't matter if you're completely broke. There's also literally no running costs unless you decide that you want to have running costs. So if you want to outsource and hire graphic designers, of course you're going to have to pay them. But you don't actually need to do that. You can do all the work yourself if you know how to do it. And finally, you build your character. You see, to make this business work, you have to become more confident. You have to get good at sales. You have to learn how to market. Those 3 things right there, I think if you have all 3 of those, you've confidence, a marketing ability, and sales ability, I genuinely believe that you will never be broke again. Because even if you switch and pivot into a different business, you're going to need those skills. Now, a quick caveat, as I mentioned, this was back in 2019, and at the time of recording this video, it's 2022. A lot has changed, but the strategies I've given to you today still work. And my agency still runs to this day. So this is not something that you're just going to do for 1 or 2 months. This is something that can last you a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years plus if you do it in the right way. If you want to learn more about this business model and how to get started with it, I do have a one-to-one mentorship program where you can learn directly from me live on a weekly basis. I hold your hand through the process. I'll tell you what worked for me, what didn't work for me, and I'll basically be your coach. If you want to check that out, there's a link in the description below this video, and I'll see you in the next one.